The summer heat in the California desert. Let me tell you, it's not just something you feel on your skin. It gets into your bones, crawls under your collar, squeezes you like you're trapped in an oven built by the devil himself. Yeah, that kind of heat. Nothing moves fast in it. Not your thoughts, not your hands, not even time itself. You know what I mean? Out there on Highway 18, a stretch of road so cracked and faded it's like the earth tried to swallow it whole. There's a little crooked shop huddled in the shadow of a sunburnt Sign Washington auto, and salvage just barely hanging on to life and memory. Inside, you'd find Tyler Washington, all of 14, but already old in ways most grown men wouldn't understand. Sharp eyes, hands scarred and steady, shirt soaked in oil and sweat, moving through the heat like he was born from it, like maybe the desert was the only place that ever wanted him. His old man left him a shop and not much else but busted tools and the stubborn belief that anything broken could be fixed if you had enough grit and faith. Tyler's mom worked 2 jobs to keep the lights on, but it was Tyler who kept the spirit of the place alive, wrenching on dead engines, coaxing life out of hopeless machines while Aretha Franklin crooned from a dying radio in the background, the air thick with grease, hope, and a kind of silent Darigo ahead, try to break me. Out here, Tyler didn't have friends. Not really, just the company of steel and dust and the ghosts of songs older than him. You want a hook? Picture this. Fate comes screaming across the desert in the shape of $1 million ambulance. Sirens blaring, an engine on the verge of death. Inside, a billionaire's baby girl gasping for air. A father about to learn that money and power don't mean a damn thing to a broken radiator. The universe didn't care that Richard Vanderbilt owned half of Silicon Valley or that his daughter's heart was held together by wires and prayer. Nope. Out here, you either fix the problem or you lose. So when that ambulance coughed its last and coasted to a stop smack dab in the middle of nowhere, with the sun melting the horizon and time running out, all the fancy degrees and high-tech gadgets in the world couldn't save them. Only a crooked garage, a rusty sign, and a boy with a toolbox. Richard Vanderbilt, the kind of man who never heard no in his life, goes running through the heat like he's chasing down God. Bursts into Tyler's shop, barking orders, eyes wild, sweat soaking his designer suit. "Can you fix an engine?" he snaps, voice thick with the kind of fear money can't buy you out of. Tyler, barefoot and calm as a monk, just nods and grabs his old red toolbox, because when someone tells you a life depends on what you could do with your hands, you don't ask questions, you just move. Out by the ambulance, chaos. Monitors screaming, doctors circling, the baby turning pale in the back while the desert presses in like a fist. Richard's threats bounce off Tyler like rain off steel. If you can't fix it, she dies, he spits. Tyler hears him, but it's the engine he's talking to, coaxing, listening, weaving a bypass out of copper wire and spit, fingers moving like he was born with a wrench in each hand. Let me back up a sec, because here's the twist nobody saw coming. Tyler's not just some kid who fixes cars, he's a prodigy. Years spent keeping junkers alive with nothing but willpower and scraps. And now, under the blazing sun, he's all that stand between a little girl's last breath and a billionaire's breaking heart. And just like that, he works a miracle. The engine sputters, coughs, then roars back to life, and for a moment, everyone stands still like the universe itself is holding its breath. Dr. Reyes, who's seen more trauma than you can imagine, looks at Tyler like he's some kind of saint. The nurse, Jasmine, mutters a prayer under her breath, eyes shining with something halfway between hope and disbelief. Richard just stares first with fury, then with a dawning, uneasy respect. But it ain't over. Tyler hops in the ambulance because that fix is holding barely, and they need someone to ride shotgun with death, just in case. The ride to Cedar Sinai is a blur of screaming sirens, tense silence, and the relentless ticking of the engine's temperature gauge. Tyler's eyes glued to the readouts, hands ready, mind racing. Halfway, their engine hiccups, temperature spikes, panic explodes again. Tyler rips open a panel, jerry-rigs a bleed line with medical tubing and clamps he snatched from the drawer, burns his hand, but doesn't stop because the baby's oxygen levels are plummeting and Richard's white-knuckled grip on the world is slipping fast. The nurse shouts, doctor's hands fly, And for one heart-stopping second, you think it's over, but Tyler's fix buys just enough time for a shot of adrenaline, a surge of breath, and suddenly, the baby's monitor spikes back to life. Now the city's on the horizon, skylines slicing through the heat haze, every bump in the road a test of Tyler's repair. They blow through traffic, police clearing the way, news choppers circling overhead, and still nobody outside that ambulance has any idea it's a teenage mechanic who's holding the thread of hope together with busted tools and nerve. At the ER, chaos explodes. Trauma team yanks the baby out, the billionaire stumbles after them, and Tyler, hands shaking, sweat and blood drying on his arms, just stands there, hollowed out but standing tall. Nobody knows his name yet. Dr. Reyes finds him outside, tells him the baby's stable, alive because of him. Tyler just nods, can't find words, doesn't need them. Richard emerges, stripped of power, eyes hollow, voice ragged. He doesn't offer money at first, just hands Tyler a black card, a direct line to his world, and then does something rarer than diamonds in this town. Says thank you, with respect, not pity. Richard shows up at Tyler's battered front porch a day later, brings a house deed for Tyler's mom, no strings, just gratitude and a brand new BMW for Tyler, the trunk stuffed with cash. The world, for once, feels right, you know? A kid who had nothing now holds the key to the future in his hands, and a mother who always feared the knock at midnight finally breathes easy. 3 days later, Tyler steps into Vanderbilt Automotive as junior technician. No fanfare, no interviews, not there for that, just a mind ready to build. Word spreads. The boy from the desert, the engine savior. Years roll by. Tyler rises designs revolutionary tech, leads teams twice his age, but never forgets the dusty shop or the truth his father taught him. Every machine is a broken heart waiting for someone to listen. He rebuilds the shop, hires kids who remind him of himself, sets up scholarships, mobile repair units, teaches anyone who will listen how to turn nothing into something. He never sells out, never forgets the silence of the desert, the weight of impossible moments. And at the end of every summer, he holds a workshop, just kids, engines, and the chance to build something unbreakable out of scrap and sweat and hope. Tyler Washington, the barefoot boy who fixed more than an ambulance, becomes a legenda, a living reminder that greatness doesn't come from privilege. It comes from never backing down, never letting go, even when the world says you should. Now, you tell me, do you think is the real engine that keeps a community running? Is it money, power, status, or the courage to do what nobody else will when it matters most? Go ahead, sound off below because, yeah, maybe the world's broken, but someone's got to fix it, right?